Hello everybody and welcome to the United League Championship here for the Japanese Grand Prix here in Suzuka. My name is Alan Cavagnaro. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in. We do not have Oliver alongside us today actually. His internet was acting up. He's actually spectating, but he can't join the party or can't really do much with his internet to the point where I had to stream. And if anyone knows me as a commentator, my internet's not that good, but his is much worse. So for the circumstances we have right now, I am streaming today's race. Just reset my internet, just did everything. I'm alone for qualifying. We are suspected to have a Valache Esports driver of Ali D, or Ali Davies, joining us a little bit later. But as of right now for qualifying, it'll just be me, and as you can see, there is rain on the track, and everyone else going out on the intermediate tires. So let me just, I already sent Ollie a party invite, and I'll send him an invite at the end of the session so he can spectate the race, because if I, send him an invite right now and he joins, for example, he'll join the race, which is not good. So we'll send him an invite afterwards. Let me just put up the right thing. The fastest lap currently fit. I think that's everything. Okay, and camera type R1, there you go. So for today, I work as a cameraman for ULC. First time I'm doing it, but for a commentator, this is the third race I've been doing. And it felt like now it's sort of a routine for ULC here. Now we're at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, like I mentioned. We have 11 drivers today. The number keeps going down. We were supposed to have a group called Trinity Competitive Racing, which I commentate for, and I also admin for also, and we were not able to find any drivers. So that goes a potential league down. PSGL, I heard they left, which is a bummer. I'm good friends with many of the guys in PSGL, and it's sad to see another league go and not make it, but I feel like there's one league that only has one driver today, but let's go through all the drivers. Let's go for an on-board shot. There's Temp Fear, he's still in the pits. I believe he's from McLaren. Then it is Frandy for the Haas. Then it's Flores, of course, for the race starts, NL in the Sauber. Then it's Stocky again for UPL in the McLaren, SML, Cosmic, and in the Williams. Fit 6 would be Kerr in the Williams, like we said. And then 7th would be in the Haas driver. And 8th, Ace of Pace. 9th, Shamazi. 10th, Julian. And 11th, replacing, I believe, which is Gemzo, which is an odd surprise. We usually see Gemzo at the races all the time, but today it's different. A replacement driver, and if I don't want to butcher the name, but that is Counter. I'll just call him Counter. And it looks like Temp Fear is out on the track, 8.5 minutes as it stands right now. Finally, it looks like everyone is out on the track, and believe it or not, whoa, spinning once, twice, and 3 times. This time, he was not able to recover, but does not hit any of the barriers. A fantastic save from SML Cosmic, and does not hit anything. And that is very impressive that he was able to pull that off. But as we go through the field, nobody has set a lap time yet with 7 minutes, and hopefully no one does a repeat of what Cosmic just did. Let's ride on board with Care. As he goes through the final 2 corners here in Suzuka, he'll cross the line with 7.5 remaining. Crosses the line, and he'll start his lap time. And I believe a lap time should be coming in shortly now. And I'm hoping Ali joins us, mainly just due to the fact that, I'd like to see him here for the beginning of the race. And right now, looks like one of the drivers, the Haas, goes across the line first. Fastest, a 142.4, now 141.6 goes Stocky for UPL. And let me just do, leader? Yeah, leader. So around 4:10 says Flores crosses the line for P2 for his banker lap. And 7 minutes as it stands right now, Stocky Flores. Third is the Sauber driver replacing Gemzo. There's Counter. And again, I don't want to butcher these names. I can't get too close to the TV or else he won't hear me, because I have a mic attached on a little tripod here. But there we go. Ali Davies has joined us. How are you doing, Ali? Yep. I'll send you an invite. Or actually, I'm not sure if you do have an invite. I never sent you one, but I was planning on it, and then I realized, I can't send you an invite. Yeah, someone's already in the spectator spot, so that's why I said. I was probably going to send you an invite after qualifying, but you can't really do that here. So, if you don't have an invite, then you're just going to have to watch off the stream, which is not that good. Okay. Maybe able to, I don't know. Well, if you can't, I don't recommend joining now, or else you'll be classified as a driver come towards race time. So I'd join once the race starts, because that's Codemasters for you. No, that would possibly bring out yellows in the first sector, and you can't really, that sort of ruins the purpose of the first lap. But Julian in second, behind by 1/10 of Stocky, and now Stocky fastest lap time makes it that 4/10 in the McLaren. And let's do a little grid rundown. We only have 3 drivers who have not set a lap time yet. It is Stocky, Julian, Flores, Counter, and then 5th place, and there's 6 of Ace of Pace, 7th Shamazi, 8th of SML Cosmic. That rounds at the top 8 who have set a lap time. And if anyone doesn't know who Ollie Davies is, or Ollie D, Season 14 AOR champion, and also Valache esports driver. This is my personal congratulations. Since I didn't get to commentate that race, I'm happy that you're here with me doing this race, so I get to say congratulations on your championship. Well deserved. Yeah, you've done a couple of commentaries. For my league, so that's why I wanted you here. I trust you. And also the fact, yeah. So, actually, people are saying you can't hear Ollie, or that's what people are saying. We can't hear you. Do you have your share audio broadcast on? Something like that? Because, yeah, that is a good point. And a pronunciation. It is Santugisto. Okay, Santugisto in 5th place for the Haas. And like I said, if anyone's tuning in now, the reason why Oliver's not here alongside me is due to his internet. Okay. Can anyone hear Ollie? Let's test that out. So 3...
Hello, can you hear me?
Well, we'll see. I mean, people are watching, so I'm going to look at the comments, see if they hear Ollie. I'm hoping they do. But like we said, we still have 2 drivers who have not set a lap time yet. Kerr, one of the faster drivers in this championship that we've seen so far this season in the Williams, has not set a lap time. Neither has Frandy in the Haas. And yes, now we can hear you perfectly just fine.
Alright, great. I've got the stream up on my phone, so hopefully I can keep up with what's going on.
Yep. Hopefully I can too, because I hate being a cameraman. So right now, Ace of Fate. Yeah, I changed it up. Okay, later. So 3/10 behind Stocky is Ace of Pace. Stocky representing UPL, and he's very satisfied with this lap time. He's in the pits. I don't see him coming out. I know Stocky's in a McLaren. I know that's not a McLaren. That is a Williams. So if he does want to go out on track, he has to do so within the next minute or so. Remember, it's raining. The track is going to be slower with the intermediate tires on, so he's really going to have to get out there if he wants to set one more lap time. But Ace of Pace slightly cutting the corner, losing the back end. There's Temp Fear in 3rd, so UPL as it stands right now. A first, 3rd with Julian. Never mind. Julian tops the board, I believe, for SRL as he retires from the session and runs over the 100 board sign. So right now, Stocky out on track for one final run. And as we go through the field, Kerr has still not set a lap time. I'm going to ask you a question about him. You've raced against him in AOR. Do you think he's going to be a threat either in qualifying or the race today?
Yeah, he's definitely one of the quickest people I've ever raced, to be honest, and his pace is, I'd say he's one of the quickest, not only on PS4, but on the game in general. And yeah, he's definitely my main bet for today's win, with the grid we have today, I think. I'm about 5 seconds behind time out in the stream, so that may affect my commentary a bit. Yeah, it's not too bad, but...
For me, it's usually 20, so a little shocked by that, 'cause, I mean, that's probably my internet for you. I'm not sure, I haven't got any notifications saying anything's wrong with the stream, so I'm happy. So as we go through the field, Stocky, he's on an out lap, so he's going to be rushed to start and finish this lap time. Temp Fear in 2nd, UPL stands 2nd and 3rd. And as we stand right now, he's entering Sector 1 through the S's, while Stocky's about to start his lap time. He's along one of the straightaways, ever so leading the right-hander, which I also call straightaway, which is very odd. But something that does shock me. Not only is Gemzo not here today, but you also have his teammate Flores for Race Stars NL. They stand 6th, and if I'm correct, where's the other Sauber? Believe it or not, I think, yeah, 6th and 7th. So Counters and Flores, they stand 6th and 7th. And past couple of times I've been here, and they've been running up the side of the podium every single race. So we may see a change in the outcome of today's race from what we've seen earlier on this season. I have not actually looked at the championship yet, so I can't really say anything much detailed. We'll probably mention it at the end of qualifying as Kerr sets in the fastest time by 1/10 over Julian, a 1:40.7, and that puts him on the top with 30 seconds remaining. I think anyone can beat that lap time, because I mean the 140s, and there goes Flores second. I just jinxed myself. He ends up standing on the front row, and it is half of a 10th behind Kerr. Do you think anyone can top Kerr's time?
Well, he hasn't got a massive margin at the front, so I'd say it is possible, depending on whether the track dries out towards the end. But also, another point is, being a wet quali, it's probably going to make it a very easy one-stop for the drivers today if it's a dry race.
Yeah. So as time counts down, we are done with qualifying. Ace of Pace is able to slide into 30 at just enough pace, if you know what I mean, to get 3rd place. 1/10 difference off Kerr. Like we said, Julian has been demoted down to 4th, 5th, 10th fear. In the McLaren, of course, for UPL, and he's finishing his lap time, however, missed one of the apexes, but really going back at it. He stands in 5th place. He's only 2/10 behind, and I'm going to mention the top 5 are all 2/10 a difference from 1st to 5th. It is 2/10, so really, really close within the front pack, and this is under, you know, the raining conditions. And what I just realized, or never mind, look on the, what is it, the broadcast camera right here, doesn't look like it's raining. You go on board and then it looks like it's pouring, so could be another Codemasters thing. But Stocky, he is headed towards 130R, and he's able to finish this lap time. Let's see if he's able to improve. He's going to go through the 2 more corners in the chicane. He's able to just nail it as Kerr finishes up his lap time, is able to take it back by a full second. I haven't seen anything that impressive in a long time, as Stocky goes up and he's able to get 9/10 close to Kerr, and Kerr sets up a phenomenal display as Flores is only able to get 8/10 close. And it looks like Shamazi 4th place, and the Renaults are up towards the front of the field while Ace of Pace spins on his final lap of qualifying. And that will end his day in qualifying. Well, Temp Fear misses the apex in the chicane, and that's going to cost him. He could have spun there as Ace of Pace retires, and Temp Fear will cross the line. I don't think he'll improve. It almost spins out as he crosses the line, and that is qualifying. Kerr on the, which no one else was able to find here at Suzuka. And it is Kerr, Flores, Stocky, Shamazi, Ace of Pace, Julian, Temp Fear, Frandy, SML Cosmics, Sandagisto, and Counter, rounding up the top 11. There's only 11 drivers here today, and the top 10 get points. And just really, if one driver retires, everyone else is confirmed points. So what do you think the drivers' expectations will be going towards the race, Ollie?
Depends where they qualify, if I'm honest. I think the ones towards the back would probably just try and pick up the pieces of incidents in front, whilst people like Carrick's obviously will be aiming for the win. Flores probably aim for a podium, and depending on what the conditions are, probably just to stay clean and get as many points as possible, seeing as this is a pretty good opportunity to do so, with there being 11 drivers. But Alan, if possible, can you send me an invite?
Yeah, I can't send you an invite. Yeah, I can't from this side.
Oh. My phone's about to die in a minute as well, so...
Well, plug it in.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get the charger.
Okay. Well, while you do that, I'm going to quickly mention, I hate to be buzzkill, but it is raining also. So, that's going to be very interesting to see how the action we'll have here today. And 11 drivers in Suzuka, and we're great. Started a fantastic race start is Kerr against Flores and Shamazi, and already 2 wide. As one car's gone wide, and that's going to be Flores, as he's already falling back down to 5th, and he's 3 wide, headed towards turn number 3. He's able to shove it down to the inside, hits the Haas, and Flores is able to lose the back end just a tad bit, but still be able to hang into 5th place. That was incredible that they did not get into an incident there. It was 3 wide. I was struggling to say. I was about to say 5 wide, but 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. You don't see that every day. and already he's dropped many positions off the start. And already it is Kerr, Shemazi, Stocky, Julian, Ace of Pace. Then there's Floris. Floris has dropped another position, while Frandy, Tempfear, SML Cosmic, Sentagisto, and Counter rounding out the top 11 as Kerr still leads. And any thoughts on that opening lap, Ollie?
I actually haven't seen it because I'm getting it up on my PS4 on YouTube right now, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, trying to get it up.
Oh, okay, well that ruins the question. So already on the opening lap, Kerr opening up a 1.5 second lead, Stocky back in third, fourth, Julian. There's a battle between the last 2 points runners of Sant'Agisto and Counter, and they're headed towards 130R, and it looks like Counter's able to get by, while Sant'Agisto stands outside of the points on the opening lap. Let me actually put up the tire detail. Everyone else still in the intermediates. Not much of it's a change, and Tempfear has spun off the exit of 130R, and that puts Sant'Agisto back in the top 10. And a wheel-to-wheel battle between the Williams and the Sauber. Raystars NL versus the Spanish League of SML Cosmic. He's going to try and hang on against Counter and headed towards turn number 1. SML Cosmic is going to be able to hang on towards turn 1. And one car goes off. Is that Sant'Agisto? And it is. And he's gone off. So the first 2 laps have been very interesting. Basically, the cars have spread out. There have been a couple battles, but Floris is actually pretty close to Ace of Pace. We'll keep an eye on him because there could be a battle with him and Ace of Pace within the next couple of laps. And if I were Ace of Pace, I'd have to pick up the pace, if you know what I mean. But 5th place in the Renault, and he's doing a decent job so far. I mean, a top 5 position, but he does have Floris right behind him. And he's searching to get back inside the top 5 after a terrible race start. Now, Ollie, I assume you have seen the race start now. Please tell me you have.
Yeah, I'm on the stream now. I'm on going into Degna 2 on board with the Sauber, so I'm a little bit behind, but should be able to keep up with it.
Okay. Okay. So, as we go through the field, the gap is actually already opened up to 2.2 seconds. Shemazi in second, third is Stocky on the grass, fourth is Julian. Actually, Stocky's run wide a little bit, while Stocky is, Stocky's run wide. Julian right behind, and he's able to catch the car as it stands out in the back end. And there's a little bit of lag, my mistake, but as we head towards 130R, Julian trying to reel in Stocky. The gap is 3/10 as we go towards 130R, running a tad bit wide. However, it's just enough to stay with Stocky. And right now, still in P3 is Stocky for UPL. Good running for him, as actually Ace of Pace is still going at it as Floris gets by Ace of Pace. And look at the gap. He must have made a mistake because a pass can't happen like that. And here we go. The 2 drivers of Cosmic and Frandy wheel-to-wheel towards turn number 1. What will happen? Riding on board, and that's going off. That's Frandy. He's been, he just ran himself off. And all of a sudden, Raystars NL car of Counter has tried to go back by of SML Cosmic, but he cannot get the job done. Cosmic in 7th. 6th is still Floris. 5th of Ace of Pace. I think it was just some lag on my screen that put Floris's car back in front. But, Ace of Pace is still leading this pack with Floris and Cosmic and Counter right there in 8th with Frandy back in 9th. I'm surprised Frandy was able to recover from that incident. As we ride on board, he's now going to get to the back end of Counter, and we're starting to see a pack form up. Do you think, what result do you see from this train or this pack forming up? I know you can't really see it, but from your racing experience, what is usually the result you see from a pack starting to form up on this game?
Usually in the dry, the dirty air effect is pretty massive around this track, but in the wet, you can't really feel it, and it should hopefully provide some good action, good overtaking. Hopefully no collisions, though.
Yeah, definitely could be like that. And actually looking with Counter, trying to get by Cosmic, they made a little bit of contact with that right front wheel of Counter and Cosmic of the left rear, switching lanes left and right, trying to find which way to go before 130R, cannot get the job done. Oh, and Stocky's off. Stocky's off. It's a second UPL car off in the same exact location, reminiscent to Tempfear a couple laps ago. And the 2 UPL cars look like they're only going to get 1 point out of this race as it stands right now. We do not have a visual of what happened during that incident, but as we go through the field, Kerr still leads by a whopping 3.9 seconds, with Shemazi in second. Third is Julian, and Stocky's actually going to come into the pits and locks up his tires without that right end plate. and able to get it under speed just enough time. Tempfear actually is pretty close to his teammate once he comes out of the pits, and once they fix that front wing, so they actually could battle each other for point-paying position. So there's still some fun up for grabs between those two. Riding on board with Counter again, close to Cosmic. He'll be trying to make a move this lap, and it'll be looking close as Counter's going very, very cautious, while Cosmic is just running over every single curb that he sees. But yet again, these two are still divided with each other by 4/10, and actually one car running wide. That's Ace of Pace back and forth, and Flores back in 5th, still not closing up the gap. So as it stands right now, do you have any predictions? We're 4 laps in, or at least for me, we're 4 laps in. Do you have any?
I know that from racing him, so I can't really see him being beaten. But I can see Flores getting up to 2nd place because I know his pace is good, and that was proved in qualifying. So expect to see him to come through.
Yeah. I apologize for the not-so-good quality, but up to the inside. That's a Williams. He's going to try and launch it up the inside. That's Cosmic against Flores, and Flores has had to cut it. And he's going to get a 3-second time penalty for that action of cutting it to try and stay ahead. Flores is still ahead of Cosmic on my screen. And again, I'm not sure this is lag or anything, but already trying to defend towards turn 1. Cosmic and Flores are still going at it. Can he do it around the outside on these drying conditions? And they're still going at it. He's actually going to run him off track, and Cosmic ends up hitting one of the Saubers, and he ends up spinning by himself with a little help of one of the Saubers. I think that was Counter, because that was the second Sauber he hit. Oh, and Cosmic, he's end up spinning.
Yeah, it was the second contact with Counter after Flores pretty much forcing him wide. I take back what I said about Flores coming through, because it does.
Yeah, your mic is cutting up, and I do believe it's me, because there is lag on my screen. So, I did realize if I do onboard shots, it makes the stream look like, less quality. So I'm going to have to stay away from these onboard shots. That's what I noticed. However, there is a battle between Shemazi and Julian. This is what I see right now. And these two, I mean, they, again, on my screen, they did have some lag, and there were some precautions of me streaming. Oliver said his internet was worse than mine, and I couldn't imagine that, since mine is horrendous when it comes to streaming F1. So as it stands right now, I have to stream today's race, and this is the best we got so far. So Julian and Shemazi, these two are 4/10 within each other as they approach 130R, and believe it or not, I'm going to have to ride on board quickly. The rain has stopped, as you can see on the onboard shot of Shemazi, and right now, we may see an overchanging or an overchange point from intermediates to slicks within the next couple of laps. However, we don't know when. And actually, now it could be now, because both drivers of Julian and Shemazi are in. And Santagisto, a penalty for multiple warnings, as it looks like several drivers into the pits. Ace of Pace, Flores, they're all in of Julian and Shemazi, they're all into the pits, and they're planning on fitting tires such as the mediums and the softs, and it actually looks like Shemazi's been held up by one of the Saubers in front of him. So it looks like Julian on the soft tires, Shemazi on the mediums, and Ace of Pace on the super softs. What do you think they're trying to get at here? I mean, they're all in different compounds.
Some of them are going to be trying to get to the end. Obviously, some have more confidence with how long their tyres are going to last, but to me it seems really, really early to go onto the dry tyres. If I was them, I'd probably stay out a couple of laps like the top 4 have, but well, they obviously know more than we do, so they know the conditions better, and medium tyres are probably the best to get to the end. Maybe the softs could work, but it would be a massive stretch and there'll be risks of punches towards the end.
Yep. Something that I think both of us can agree on, I used to league race, and I know this is a fact. There's 2 signs to let you know when it's time to slick tires. There's when spray is, there's no spray left on your intermediate tires, or Jeff says time to change the strategy and they enable DRS. Those are the 2 signs I see when it's fit to put on the slick tires. But we haven't seen either of those yet. So guys like Care, Counter, and Frandy, they're going to have a good advantage. Same with Santagisto. Now, here's the problem. Haas is running 3rd and 4th. They're both going to go up in the same pit stall. So one of these guys are going to get the advantage, and one of them is going to have to do the overcut, and it's going to cost them several seconds. And that's not good for the Haas team, as both of their drivers have not pitted yet, and they're going to have to do so in the same lap once it's, time for the slick tires. Julian still leads, and actually, never mind, Frandy's in, that changes everything. And never mind, Santagisto's in, so this could be even worse, as it's still not ready for the slick tires, and teammates are pinning on the same lap. There's lack of communication I could see. They're going to be, or at least Santagisto is going to be held up in the pit lane, and a 10-second time penalty for Shemazi of exceeding the track limits. And yeah, he's just coming off the gravel trap, so he could have locked up so far and went off track to the point where the game just gave him a penalty, a 10-second penalty, in fact. But it's Frandy back out in fourth. He's back out on the track, and as you can see, there's still spray coming from those tires. When do you think guys like Care and Counter will be pitting? Because they're one of the few guys on the intermediate still left on the track.
As you say, Alan, I think they're going to be waiting for those 3 or 2 signs to come in, because Carrick's, he's pretty experienced. He knows when is the best time to pit for dry tyres. And to be honest, those top 2 are doing the best thing. You can see a couple of drivers have gone off on the dry tyres already, so clearly it's best to stay out on the intermediate tyres for the time being.
Yep, yellow in Sector 1, and Stocky's out of this race, and there leads 10 drivers left, and oh, he's lost a left front tire. He could have locked up, headed towards turn number 1 on those intermediate. I don't know. It's sort of odd how that incident happened. And as you can see on Cosmic's car, he has 2 different compounds on in my screen. I think it's just a glitch. Yeah, probably just a glitch on my screen. 10th Fear back at 9th. 8th Flores, 7th Santagisto. 6th Ace of Pace, 5th Shemazi, 4th Frandy, 3rd Julian, 2nd is Counter, and Care is actually into the pits, leading this race. Will Counter follow him?
Well.
Yeah, wait, DRS enabled? Did that pop up? Because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it now.
Okay, well, I didn't see it, and I'm streaming this race, so that's sort of odd. I probably wasn't paying attention. Care exits the pits. There's still spray on the track out coming from his tires, but it's okay, as like you said, DRS is now enabled. Julian, however, fastest lap time on the soft tires. Yeah, it's definitely time to put on the slick tires, and Counter's going to get jumped many positions behind, but will he be ahead of his teammate? Most likely he will, because Flores is now just coming out of the last corner, and he's still struggling out there. Counter comes out 4th, so it was a huge jump he did on his teammate, and with Julian to Care, the gap is 4.8 seconds, so he's able to gain several seconds by petting a couple laps later. So the grid stands as is, with 10th Fear still in the intermediates, now pitting. The grid stands as is. Care, Julian, Frandy, Counter, Shemazi, Ace, Pace, Santagisto, Flores, SML, Cosmic, and 10th Fear, rounding out the top 10. And we have Care, like we said, still leading this race up to 5.3 seconds. His wet weather driving I've seen from other leagues have been really impressive. And I know you're a wet weather driver as well, as me and Cam Anderson, we always like to call you that you can only win on the wets, and you changed that as of recently. Now that it's dry, do you think any of these drivers will be either, increasing their pace or increasing the gap or decreasing their gap? Because some certain drivers like better or certain conditions over others. For example, I know Care's really good on the wet conditions. He could probably be extending that gap, which he is, already up to 6 seconds, which last sector, it was 5 seconds. So do you think this will really work out for Care, or do you think it'll struggle out for some of the other drivers in this field?
I think the ones on the softer tyres are going to have the initial pace, but they won't be able to make it to the end, such as Ace of Pace. There's not a chance he's going to make it to the end, so I expect the ones on medium tyres to just about make it. Soft tyres, I don't think they'll happen, so yeah, eventually you'll start seeing times just drop, and then you'll see fastest lap after fastest lap, but you're not going to see that for the moment. They're probably taking it pretty cautiously for the time being, but eventually you'll see the times just drop down.
Yep. Flores crosses the line, fastest lap time on those soft tires. And yeah, like you mentioned, yep, Julian, like I said, he's on the soft tires, same with Frandy, but Care is on the medium tires, and is still extending that gap by more than a second per lap, and that is just beyond impressive. I mean, I was sort of expecting this pace from Care once we all knew there's going to be wet conditions, not only involved with qualifying, but the beginning of the race. I knew that for Care, he was going to have a field day and, have a regular Saturday drive or whatever. Just go out there and say bye-bye, see you again at the end of the race. I knew he was probably going to do that. I'm not surprised that he's leading, but by this much on the compounds, it shocks me a little bit. I mean, like you said with Care, like you said, he was one of the fastest you've ever raced against. For me as a commentator, he's probably one of the fastest I've ever seen race when I commentate. And that's saying something, because I've been doing this for a long time on, different F1 games and different other games as commentaries. He's really impressive towards me. Julian back in second, 6.9 seconds, almost 7 seconds. Frandy in third will ride an onboard view. He stands in third for the Haas, fourth of Counter, fifth of Shemazi. Shemazi was running inside the top 3. However, he's dropped back to P5 after making a sort of pit mistake and pitting a couple laps early as Care, a 137.6, and those laps are only going to get faster as more and more grip starts to, lie on the track as the track starts to dry. But for Care, let's look at the fastest lap, though. I honestly just forgot it. That was a 137.6. Do you think anyone could reach their fastest lap times into the 136s? Because, you have to realize, he's on the medium tires. If someone goes on the super softs, they'll be able to achieve a faster lap time.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're probably going to get down to around 135s from what I can remember racing around this track in the dry, something around there. But now a lot of drivers are probably going to be saving their tyres for the time being.
Yep. Especially for the drivers that are planning on one-stopping this till the end. Drivers such as SML, Cosmic, Shemazi, Counter, and Care. They're all on the medium tires, and they're all planning on making it to the end. They're good on their tires. And I'm not surprised that they're doing this, but drivers such as Ace of Pace and some other drivers on the soft tires like Julian and Frandy, Santagista, oh, never mind, spinning goes the Williams of SML Cosmic and hard into the wall. He still has 4 tires all intact, and that back end, well, the reason why I went around was he was on the grass. He tried to do some drifting, and on the grass, for the F1 cars, I don't think that's advised. I think we're supposed to stay on the asphalt, but for SML Cosmic, he could not manage the car on the grass. So they should probably make some tires for the grass. That'd be kind of cool to see some racing on the grass, but Cosmic goes all the way around, and without a front wing, so he'll have to pit this lap, and that'll give a huge advantage for Temp Fear. He'll gain an extra point out of this if he gets by him. And for Cosmic, most likely, he'll probably put on the super softs or the soft tires to finish the race on and probably go for the fastest lap time, but 1:35.1 was the new fastest lap time that we just saw set in. So 1:34 now looks possible as Flores a 1:35 flat. As the pace just keeps kicking up, like we said, more and more grip is on the track. As we look with Flores, he's close to Ace of Pace. These times could even rack into the 1:33s or 1:34s, and I think that's really impressive for some of these drivers with the drying conditions that we have here in Suzuka.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they're the time's just going to keep on dropping from now on, really, and especially as the fuel loads go down as well. And when people I'd say the ones who are on soft tyres now will probably go into the super softs towards the end, and they're going to be absolutely rapid towards the end. So I could say maybe even 32 is possible, I think, around here.
Yep. Also, I'm just going to ask you a question. Hold on a second. Cosmic into the pits. Temp Fear flies by for P9. I'm going to ask you a question. You're still watching the race on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
How was the quality? Because I had to take my phone off Wi-Fi mode. I tried to see if that would improve it. And I was watching it off my phone also to see the comments. I can't see them anymore. But it looks to be that I'm not getting any more notifications about my by the internet quality. How's it looking for you?
Yeah, it was a bit stuttery, but now it's doing alright.
Okay, good. I think that's what I'm going to have to do for now, and just take my phone off Wi-Fi mode, and I think that could be just enough to push the stream forward. 12 laps in, we're almost towards the halfway mark, as Flores is able to get by Ace of Pace. He must have gone through him in the final chicane, and I know I sound like Captain Obvious, but someone has to say it. Flores still 7th, 8th is Ace of Pace. I was about to say Ace is 8th of Pace. That sounds funny, I'll be honest. Care's still leading. That gap has actually gone down. A couple laps ago, never mind. A couple laps ago, it was around 7.5 seconds. It's now 7 seconds. It's still not much, but considering the gap that Care keeps putting up against everyone else, keeps pulling away by more than a second per lap, now that's starting to go down. More likely, tires are starting to degrade, and honestly, I thought those soft tires of Julian would start to degrade before the mediums of Care, but I think that's how much hard Care is pushing those tires to the point where he's trying to be the fastest man on the track, but still finish the race on those tires. And do you think the drivers, what drivers do you think will have to pit again, or at least will catch themselves out on a puncture? Because eventually, guys such as Ace of Pace and actually Cosmic just pitted, but for Ace of Pace, struggling on those super soft tires, as he just saw Flores go by him, he's gonna have to pit eventually, and he'll make one final stop. When do you think that'll happen, and what tires do you think he'll put on?
I think when Ace of Pace pits, it will be probably around lap 15, around 10 laps after when they went onto the dry tyres after the rain, or 15, 16, something like that, and then he'll probably go onto the soft tyres because I think it'll be pretty comfortable from there to go to the end. But the drivers on medium tyres right now are, I'm pretty sure they're easily going to make it to the end, because medium tyres, they don't really degrade much around here, and this track's pretty friendly on its tyres as well.
Yeah. So I was just looking, and it looked like Kerr was struggling, and then he goes in and sets the fastest lap, and I'm like, okay, there must be something wrong. And of course, then Julian comes across the line, then he sets the fastest lap time, and then Flores sets the fastest lap time. So really, the gap is really lunging from 6.5 seconds to around 7 seconds between the leader of Kerr to second of Julian. And I mean, like I said, these laps are going to get faster and faster due to the drying conditions of the track. But it doesn't necessarily mean that Kerr is still the fastest one out there. With those tires and how they stand right now, the mediums are just absolutely shredded. They just, they can't go as fast, because obviously the softer the compound, the more grip you have. Not much grip for Kerr, but I mean, the track is dry and there is starting to be some more grit, so that's why his laps are still improving. But improving even more are guys such as Frandy and Julian, who are on the softer compounds, who do have more grip and are able to use that to their advantage, as Cosmic a 131.1. And these times are just starting to get faster and faster, like we keep on mentioning. And partly the reason is because he's in clean air on new super soft tires. So I don't think that lap time will actually get beat again unless drivers start to go on the super soft tires after they pit one more time. You know, the guys such as Ace of Pace or Santagisto or Flores, just for example, because they're on the soft tires. But for example, we'll look up with Kerr. I think Kerr just wants to finish the race on these tires, most likely. But he'll be struggling towards the end. And so we have 10 drivers left. I'm going to ask you a mid-race question since we're halfway through this race. Who has been your biggest winner and loser so far? And I'll actually put up the detail of positions gained, and you can look at that. So who do you think has been the biggest loser and the biggest winner in this race so far?
The biggest loser, I'd say, has been Flores, obviously dropping down from second to seventh. And then probably biggest winner is probably Carrick's, from just staying out of trouble, being in pole position, because although you're in pole, you can still get taken out, and he's just got away and he's clear now with a pretty massive gap, and it's pretty surprising how he's pulling away from the guys on the soft tyres. But yeah, I'd say Flores is most likely the biggest loser out of this.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I mean, I'm gonna have to disagree on both parts, actually. Kerr started on pole position, so it's not like he gained an advantage. It's just he's been neutral. He hasn't gained any positions. And, I mean, that's because he started on pole. But, I mean, the gap that he has could put him up there. Biggest winner I see so far is Counter. I mean, he's taking over Gemzo's spot, and this, I believe, his first ever race at ULC, and comes through, and he's gained 7 positions off the start, and already he made a good strategy calls. Now he's going to fly into the pits on the medium tires. I was just going to say, he was 7 positions ahead, but I guess that's commentator's curse for you. It happens way too much for me, and actually, he breaks his wing, and I don't know how, but he enters the pits and breaks his wing. But even for the biggest loser, I'm going to have to say Stocky. He lost 8 positions, and Tempfier's out of the race. And I think he's just done racing. He's just setting time trial laps, to be honest, and I think he's just called it quits. So, and now Counter's out of this race. And I don't know anymore. He was running really well. I'm not sure if you see that, too. I mean, yeah, you do. You're watching the stream.
That now. Yeah. But these guys, they're all guaranteed points, so they don't really need to take any risks, because you're going to get a point anyway. Well, there's now 9 drivers left. So.
Well, you do have to realize the 90% rule. Despite them retiring with 10 drivers left, they could retire halfway through the race with 10 drivers left. They're going to say, "Yay, I'm going to get a point." Well, actually, with the 90% rule, you're going to get nothing, because you have to finish 90% of the race, which basically is maybe up to lap 24, 25, and then you can retire and then get your point. But, I mean, for these drivers, they may be facing some consequences for retiring not in the pit lane. I mean, Counter retired in the pit lane, and now his car's back out on track, never mind. But for drivers such as Tempfier, he may face a consequence for retiring on the racetrack and not actually in the pit lane. Though he could have lost internet connection, I don't know, but when you do, you just leave the session. So we have 8 drivers now. Cosmic has gained a position. So, I mean, I'm still going to go with the biggest loser. I'd say Stocky. He has lost 8 positions in an 11-car race. He was starting up towards the front and showed a lot of promise in this race. And it just went down the drain as, he's a first retirement. And he still won't get points no matter what. So Kerr still leads with a gap of 8.9 seconds. If we put up the detail of how many stops they have done, everyone has done 1 stop except Cosmic, who has done 2, who also, I believe, holds the fastest lap time. Am I correct? Yes, he does. A 1:31 flat. Do you think anyone can beat that lap time?
I wouldn't count out second and third place because they're on the soft tyres, and I don't think they'll get to the end, and they'll probably go on the super softs. So their time with low fuel load as well, they'll be pushing to try and catch the guys who are doing 1 stops. I can see them probably setting low 31s towards the end of the race.
Oh, that could be the case. My phone is ringing, so I'm going to have to speak louder. The phone is under my pillow, so I'm not sure if you hear it. You can hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, of course you can. So let's keep talking. Kara's still leading with around 9.5 seconds. Frandy's back in 3rd, 4th is Shemazi, 5th is Santagisto, 6th is Flora, 7th Ace of Pace, 8th is Cosmic, and okay, the dial tone is good, done. So there we go. 10th of Fear has left the session. Kara's still leading. We're struggling to find some battles, but if you look through the field, the closest one we see, actually, hold on, Julian in the pits, and almost hits the pit sign and the pit barrier. As you can see, locked up his front tires and just went head on. But luckily, the game is actually, not only did it save him from hitting the wall, it sort of pays him back for, he has to serve that 5-second stop go. And speeding the pit lane for Flores, he's also in. And that's going to make his day bad to even worse. He's going to have to pit for one final time with 11 laps to go here in the Japanese Grand Prix. And he's going to serve that stop go right now. And I apologize for not sharing the track facts like I usually do in every commentary, but I don't want to risk the stream. I don't want to go on the internet and say the track facts, as I usually just pull it up on my phone, and I can't do that right now. So Flores comes out of the pits in P7. P6 is Julian, top 5. Now he enters Ace of Pace. Santagisto Shemazi finds himself back in the podium, but a whopping 14 seconds divide Frandy in Care with 11 laps to go. Now, we've already seen drivers on the soft tires, such as Flores, pit a second time, and we still have 11 laps to go in this race. Do you think you'll see Care either extending those tires till the end, or do you think he'll be pitting one more time to replicate what everyone else has done in this race?
No, he'll easily get to the end of the medium tires.
Okay, then what could the possibility of why Flores pitted then? Because, I mean, maybe he was at the end of the life on those tires, and maybe Care could be pitting one more time. I don't exactly know. I'm not a driver. That's why I'm asking you these questions.
Yeah, there's quite a big difference in terms of wear between the soft tyres and the medium tyres. The medium tyres seem to be massively different in terms of how they handle and the wear they get as well. The soft tyres, they're pretty quick compared to the medium tyres, but they wear after about 12 laps around the circuit. Super softs, I know you can get them for about 10 laps around here, but that's a bit of a risk, especially towards the end of the race of punches. But the medium tyres, I should think they'll be able to get to the end, but maybe Carrots wants to play it safe and maybe doesn't want to risk getting a puncher, so he might pit towards the end of the race.
Yep, Ace of Pace into the pit lane. He will serve his stop-go penalty. Feels like a lot of drivers have gotten penalties today. And one of the few... And speaking of penalties, 3-second penalty for Frandy. And he was running in second place. That's going to add 3 more seconds between him and Care, who still leads with 10 laps to go here in the Suzuka International Circuit. And as you can see, the sun is starting to come out. Less clouds are starting to form in the sky. When I say less clouds, I mean clouds are starting to go away. I could have just said that. But Shemazi is 2.2 seconds behind, and I don't think I do think Shemazi has a penalty. I don't know. I could as it stands right now, we can possibly pull up the race director, since nothing is going on as it stands right now. And these are all the penalties. There's some stop and goes, warnings. 3 seconds for Flores, 3 seconds for Stocky, 3 seconds for Santagisto, 3 seconds for Cosmic, and 10 seconds for Shemazi, and I don't even think he earned that. I think it was just a game glitch, but 3 seconds to Flores, so he already has 6 seconds of penalties. Now 9 seconds for lap 12 he got on, and a stop-go for Flores, and 3 seconds for Frandy. So that's about it for penalties. Everyone has gotten a lot of warnings, but penalties have been something different, as Frandy comes in for the final time today to fit the super soft tires, the red wall tires. 9 laps to go, and Julian sits the fastest lap time and flies by Frandy. So it feels like everyone around Care is starting to pit. Let me put up the stops detail. Yeah, it's basically the top 3 who have not pitted, and that is Care, Shemazi, and Santagisto. And I believe 2 out of the 3 of those drivers will be pitting. And, I mean, maybe Shemazi may stay on the end on those mediums, but half of the medium runners that we saw after the rain have pitted. So that's why I brought up the question if Kerr will be pitting again. I mean, he already has a 18-second lead. I could see him pitting again, maybe just to go for fastest lap because he has such a big of a lead. But for Kerr and Shemazi, I'm going to ask you this again. Do you see them pitting now that everyone but them has pitted?
For Shemazi, I can't see him pitting because he's now in a massive, like, really good position of being in second place. And he probably won't want to give that away, even though it could be at risk of, like, being caught towards the end. But, you know, catching is one thing, passing is another. So maybe Shemazi could be able to hold on to that second place. Carrick's, like, these two in the lead, they went on to medium tyres in order to get to the end. That's the only reason they chose those tyres when they pitted after the wet. So I'm pretty sure they're probably just going to hang it out because at this stage it's probably too late to pit and make up the gap that you've gained.
Oh, hold up, yellow in sector 1 and 2. That is SML Cosmic around for the second time today. And whoa, his teammate just lapped him. And Cosmic has gone around for the second time today. Probably a gust of wind on that one. And that was actually the same place where he had a mistake earlier in the race. So he could have gotten on the grass again. It's really tricky when you're coming out of the S section. Your right side's hook up on the grass, and that just allows your back end to kick out, and you end up spinning. It does happen for some people, especially when I try some time trial here for a league race I did earlier, a couple months ago. I hated that part when you come out of the S's. It was just so tough to nail. And I feel like Cosmic is suffering from the same issue. Just you try and gain more speed. When you do time trial, you practice and practice. The reason for that, you try and see which corners you can improve on, which ones you can carry more speed through. For that one, I could say he tried to carry more speed through that one, and next thing you know, his car is off the track and he ends up spinning out again. But this time it's different. He has no damage at all, so he must have been able to quickly save it after he ended up spinning the first time. He took some notes on how to save his car after the first time he did some drifting in the grass, but we have 7 laps to go, and the gap is 18.7 seconds, and now Cosmic is in another time, so there must be some damage. I just didn't see it. And Cosmic may be putting on another set of super soft tires, and he will. So 7 laps to go, and, well, Karras completely dominated this race. He's led every single lap from pole position. I'm not even sure about fastest lap. No, he doesn't, since he's on the medium tires. If he's able to, let's say he pits one more time and then gets the fastest lap, that'd be a grand salami. He's able to do every single thing in the Grand Prix. Fastest lap, pole position, leading every lap, and of course win the race. So for Kerr, I feel like he could definitely do that if he does pit. But again, for him and Shemazi, they'll be staying out there. It's 7 laps to go, and the pressure's on their shoulders as they're trying to finish those race on very, very worn and old tires. Third place is sent to Gisto, just in case if anything happens, he'll be able to pick up Shemazi's place. But remember, Shemazi has a 10-second penalty, and the gap between those two are around 6 seconds, 6.5, as Kerr picks up his first penalty of the night. And I believe Julian did also. Not exactly sure, but Kerr picked up a 3-second time penalty. So, out of all the drivers in the field, who has impressed you the most today?
I'm not really too sure who's impressed me the most, but Shemazi making the tyres last is he's definitely standing out for me, but he has got that 10-second time penalty if you remember, but he's actually still extending the gap to third place Santa Giusto as well, so pretty impressive driving from him, and he's probably trying to extend that gap to over 10 seconds so he can hold on to the second place. But I'm pretty surprised how Santa Giusto in third place is not catching up Shemazi, despite the fact he's on the soft tyres.
Yeah, I'm looking at that gap. That gap is slowly increasing, and
yeah.
I just don't know. We saw this earlier with Kerr and Julian when, the rain just stopped, and those two were running 1-2. Julian was on the soft tires last stint, and Kerr was still on his worn mediums, and he was still pulling off a gap. So I'm not sure that we can just say the mediums are the better tire here. Obviously, they aren't, because they don't have enough grip compared to the super softs or the softs. But from the data we've received, as Shemazi loses the back end off the S there, off the final S. And again, same situation Cosmic was in, but from what we've seen today, every time you're on the medium tires, you pull away from the car behind you no matter what tire they're on. So I'm not sure if that's just down to durability. I'm not exactly sure. But for Santa Giusto, he's still in third, and he's actually now starting to reel in Shemazi. as the gap was 6.9 seconds earlier. Now it is 6.3, so finally, once you spoke up, he started to reel him in, and most likely he'll be getting him at the end of this race. We have 6 laps to go. Kerr still leads. We're coming to 5 laps to go, and it actually looks like he's going to go in the pits, but does not. He has 5 laps to go, and most likely Kerr will be finishing the race on those tires. I mean, I asked this question with 10 laps to go because I thought there's no way he can extend those tires with 10 laps to go. But now that we go lap after lap, and now we're halfway through that, now it's 5 laps to go, I mean, it seems more realistic. Synergisto, now it's 6.7 seconds, as it was opposed to last sector, 6.3. But 4th, Julian. 5th, Frandy. 6th, Flores. 7th, Ace at Pace. And 8th is Cosmic. That rounds out our runners today. And still leading. Let's try and find a battle. Closest one we can see is Julian. He's reeling in Synergisto. The gap is less than 3 seconds. As Cosmic, another fast lap time. That is a 1:30.3. Even faster than the lap he set previously, breaking his own record as he flies through turn 1. Do you think possibly within the next couple of laps he can fly under the 129s around that time? Because it seems really close right now.
I could see it happening, although 30.3, he's still got to find 4/10, and gradually the tyres will wear out, but then again the fuel is decreasing, so it is a possibility, but you know, he's got nothing to lose being that distance off the car in front, so he's just going to push for the fastest lap. And
off, and he's able to save it. Cosmic is off the track for the 3rd time today while pushing for a fast lap, like he said. Now Flores, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. I believe that will add up to 12 seconds as it stands right now. Ace at Pace still 7th. And, well, the gap between Julian and Synergisto is coming down, and it feels like Julian is one of the faster cars on the track that's in the top 5, as not only he's reeling in Synergisto, but Synergisto is reeling in Shemazi, or at least was, not anymore. But Julian is pretty close to Synergisto, and he'll be looking to make a move within the next couple of laps. We have just 4 laps to go in the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. And, I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, I'm sort of surprised from the pace Julian has shown today. I mean, he was up in the front earlier, he pitted an extra time, and he's making that time up, and now he's reeling in Synergisto. And 4 laps to go, it looks like he's going to be able to get by him. It's going to be a close battle towards the end, but like you said, like we know from this game, it's sort of hard to pass people. Catching someone is one thing, getting by someone else is another thing. So once he gets back to the back end, he's going to have just a lap or 2 to get by him. And that's going to be a little tricky for him, especially at a track like this, where passing, it's really hard to do. There's only certain corners where you can really get it down. But for Julian, the gap is 4/10. Next DRS zone, he'll be able to hook up to that back end of the Haas, and he'll be able to show him what he has. But do you think we'll be seeing Julian getting by Synergisto towards the end of the race?
It will be a difficult one, because you're going to catch up in the final sector, but then throughout the first sector, you're just going to lose it all because of the dirty air really in the first sector.
Whoa, spinning! Spinning goes Julian, pushing too much and just losing the back end. And another commentator's curse, Frandy goes by for 4th.
Yeah, I'm about 20 seconds behind you, Alan.
Oh, 20 seconds. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was for me. Like I said, I was surprised when you said 5 seconds, but Julian, when spinning in the spoon curve, and right now he's back to 5th place, and now he has Flores behind him. Is that Flores? Yeah, Flores. By a whopping 8 seconds. 3 laps to go for Kerr, and the gap is 21 seconds. Shemazi in 2nd, 3rd is Synergisto, 4th is Frandy. Cosmic is into the pits for I don't know how many times. Detail, let's see, how many times. This is going to be his 3rd stop? No, not 3rd. It can't be his 3rd stop. That's one less. Maybe it's his 4th? I don't know. Yeah, 4th stop. Yeah, that is Cosmic's 4th pit stop of the day. Too many pit stops. I don't know what he's been trying to do. I think every time he's just going for fastest lap every single time. Eventually he's going to run out of the super soft tires. He has to realize that. For right now, he's probably on old super softs. Because, I mean, I don't think they'd allow you to have that many at the racetrack for that team. It sort of surprised me that he still has some left. But Kerr coming across the line for 2 laps to go. And, well, the penultimate lap of the race. And Kerr's led every single lap of this thing. And like you said, you two compete. So once we get this race over, some driver interviews, ask him how he did it. You can take some notes and save it for Abu Dhabi for you, which I believe is this weekend. I believe for you in AOR, right?
Sorry, what was that? My mum's in the room next door. What was that, sorry?
So I believe you have one race left of the season for AOR. You have Abu Dhabi next, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So maybe at the end of this race, just ask him how he ended up winning. Get one more win in the season in Abu Dhabi. I don't know. That's just me. I know they're different tracks. I'm just messing with you. So Kerr still leads 21, almost 22 seconds. Sanagisto in third. And, going to the S is now Ace Pace at 3-second time penalty. While Kerr is headed towards the spoon curve. And this is one of the most interesting parts of the track. I don't really like it, I'll be honest. It's sort of not hard to nail each corner. For me, it's different gears, and then you have to memorize not only that, but then you have to hit the apex, and then, for me, then straight away after that, it's sort of rewarding. After the miserable spoon curve, then you have the long straight, and then 130-yard that you get to enjoy. So, I mean, it sort of works out in the end. But for Kerr, he's going to come towards the final lap, while Shamazi is still in the spoon curve. That just goes to show the pace everyone, or at least Kerr's had today. He's going to cross the line for the final time in a race today. He'll cross it one more time to take the checkered flag, but for Kerr, he'll take the final lap, and he'll just go around as a jolly ride for one final time, trying to reach up to 22 seconds. But for Shamazi, the gap between him and Sanagisto is actually 9 seconds, and Sanagisto does have it for time penalty, so no matter what, I think Shamazi may still be able to get second place, which is really impressive, due to the fact that he has a 10-second time penalty. But if we go through the field, there could be one quick battle towards the end. I don't think there will be. But final lap for Kerr. Second is Shamazi. Third is Sanagisto and Cosmic. Well, I think Cosmic is actually on a fast lap right now. It's right on board. Do you think he'll be able to reach the 129s? I mean, unless those are old tires, I don't think he'll be able to, but he'll reach up to 8th gear. And he'll be coming towards the end of this lap. Cosmic, and sticking towards the left-hand side. Yeah, he's definitely going for a fast lap. Locking up that right front while hopping over both curbs.
Yeah, he wants that 129, doesn't he?
Yep, close to the barrier. 129.6. He's able to get it done. Good job to Cosmic. Getting that fastest lap of the final time. It'll be Kerr on the medium tires. From first to first, out of all 27 laps, no one could touch Kerr in this race. Started on pole position, he'll finish in pole. Final 2 corners, crosses line. Kerr wins the Japanese Grand Prix here in ULC for PS4. And what a way to end this race for Kerr to take the victory by a whopping 22 seconds. Shamazi is ahead of Sanagisto by 11 seconds. So he'll be able to take home second place, half the gap of Shamazi. Shamazi riding on board, coming across the line in P2. And a good day for him, he takes a podium. In the Renault, Sanagisto in third, he also has a penalty. While Ferrandi, his teammate, is just close behind, coming across the line for P3. Sanagisto comes across the line, the gap between him and Shamazi is 4 seconds. Ferrandi behind by 1. Then there's Julian. Julian was up in the front earlier in this race, and now he's back in 5th place. He'll cross the line. And that'll be it. 5th place for Julian. Ends up crashing as he crosses the line. Flores collides with him. He has sort of a Force India front wing attached to his, so the both of them collided as they crossed the line. Flores finished 7th, and SML Cosmic, I think he's out of fuel. Cosmic out of fuel after pushing for that fastest lap. And no question that he was really pushing and crashes into a parked car of Flores. And that ends a very interesting Japanese Grand Prix. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate that race, Ollie?
I'd give it a 6 or a 7. It was pretty interesting with the weather and the strategy and everything like that, but only having 11 drivers probably made it a bit less eventful, but still, with the drivers we had today, it was a pretty interesting race and I enjoyed watching it.
Yep, it was a very interesting one, and on top, another trophy taken back for Kerr to take today's victory as he sprays the virtual champagne. Of course, that's always a good feeling when you win. You get to spray some champagne. Not in real life, but on video games, of course. Second is Shamazi. Third is the Haas of Sanagisto. And that ends out a very interesting Japanese Grand Prix here for ULC. The 11 runners, and a bunch of them have penalties. Flores 35 seconds of penalties, and he's still ahead of Cosmic. So that's very interesting. Here's how the grid runs down. It is Kerr, Shimazi, Senna, Gisto, Frandy, Julian, Asa, Pays, Flores, Cosmic running out the top 8. And then that is then Verline, Van Dorn, and Alonso. There's Stocky and 10th here. I believe 9th place is, I forgot. My memory is having a bubble right now. Who was the other Sauber driver that replaced Gemzo? My mind is having a freeze. I don't remember.
Alan, I'm gonna have to head off, but thanks for having me today in the commentary box. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for finding some time to do this race. It was interesting to have you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
I'll see you soon.
You too. So it looks like I'm gonna do driver interviews by yourself today. So as Ollie leaves, we appreciate him for tuning in today and for him watching, commentating the race with me today. It was a last-minute decision. It was around 10 minutes or so before the race. Oliver was like, yeah, my internet's not going to cut it today. I can't stream. So then I had to stream, and then he said he wasn't going to show up. So a last-minute decision to get Ollie in here, a Villace esports driver and a AOR F1 champion of Season 14. It was very nice to have him alongside with us. Let's get Karen the party as long as Shimazi. And I'm sorry for the blue screen right now, but we are in the middle of inviting people. And actually looks like Oliver's on Fortnite right now. So, he's still on PS4, but he's not going to commentate today with me. So I got Care. We'll send him out and invite, then we'll invite Shimazi. Hopefully he's still with us. Let me type this in, and hopefully he has not left. Please, Shimazi. We'd love to interview you. Because I'm kind of curious, what he got that 10-second penalty for? I mean, he did run off track in the chicane, but no reason to get a 10-second penalty. I know, I can't... My PlayStation's buffering. Can't invite him right now. Scroll down through the friends list. Come on. We're almost there. We're almost to the S's. Right now we're at the M's. Scrolling down, where's Shimazi? Now we're at the R's. As we await Care to join us. I think that was a solid race. I'd have to say 6.5. I mean, we saw a lot of racing today, but half the time I was looking around for battles, and that shouldn't really happen. And actually, Shimazi is either not on my friends list, or he's not in my friends list. Okay, that is interesting. So we'll wait for Kara to join us. If not, we will end this. We'll end this. Here we go, we have Kara with us. I believe we have Kara with us. Yes, we have Kara with us. So congratulations on a dominant victory today, Kara. It was very impressive to say the least, and from watching it, I wasn't surprised by the pace, but where were you able to find it? Like, no matter what tire compounds you were on, you were faster than every single driver out there, besides your teammate who kept pitting a couple times for the fastest lap time. But how'd you do it today?
Yeah. It is one of my best tracks. In this game, the hardest compound is faster in the rain, so although I could finish the race with the soft, I decided to put mediums because yeah, it is faster in the rain, and then it's more comfortable and more and safer to get the win. So yeah.
Yeah. I tried getting Shimazi in here, but I think he just went offline, so I'll ask you one more question. I don't know when the next race is. I'm not a full-time commentator here. I don't really remember the schedule. But I do believe, this isn't the final race, so you'll be racing again next time out. Do you think this sort of carries a momentum towards the next race? Because obviously, half the races I've, seen you with, and you finish on the podium here, and for other leagues, you finish up towards the top. So do you think this really helps, or do you think the motivation or the momentum was already there?
Yeah, obviously I needed that win because apart from I'm now leading the championship, last races I was going second, and fourth without any win, and yeah, I need it. And yeah, it helps me to feel more confident about the next races.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us in the booth for some questions, Kara. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, congratulations on the win, and good luck next week out.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem. So, as our only driver interview of the day will end out, we're going to get Schmazzy in here, who finished runner-up with that 10-second penalty, of course. He got off, so that'll be the only interview. So, that'll finish up the broadcast for today. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in. My name is Alan Cavagnaro. I was alongside Ollie Davies, but he decided to leave at the end of the race. And so, I'm not sure if I'll be here next time out. It depends if Oliver or Andy cannot make it. I forgot to say Andy couldn't make it. I think you could have already figured. But we'll see you next week out for another Grand Prix for PS4. Hoping to get some more drivers for the leagues, and obviously 11 drivers today. We still put up a good race. I thought it was very interesting. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in. My name is Alan Cavagnaro. ULC will see you next weekend for another Grand Prix. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Have a safe night, everybody, and peace.